Check 1, 2. La-dee-da. Back in the days of the grandfathers, there was a little girl named Dorothy. And she lived on a farm in Kansas. She lived with her Auntie Am and a little dog named Toto and 3 farm hands and some pigs. And anyway, so one day this wicked old witch comes at the door, and she knocks at the door there, and she's like, "Are you Dorothy? Do you have a little dog named Toto?" And Dorothy says, "Yes, ma'am. My dog Toto, he's right here." And she says, "Well, I got a letter from the governor, from the mayor or somebody, from the chief of police. He says I can take your dog. Your dog bit me. I'm going to take your dog, and I'm going to have him put down. I'm going to take him to the pound. They're going to put a bullet in your head." And little Dorothy was like, "No, please don't take my little dog. He's all I have." Well, that mean old witch, she just took the dog anyway, got on her bicycle, started riding away. Well, pretty soon, that little dog, Toto, he jumps out of the wicker basket. He goes back to Dorothy. And Dorothy says, "Oh, Toto, you got away from that wicked old witch. We got to run away." So they run away. But then, what happens? A tornado comes through the farm. This is Kansas, and it's tornado season. And I guess because, I don't know why, but Auntie Em, she wasn't a very good auntie. That tornado comes, and she's like, "Come on, everybody. Let's all go hide in the cellar." And the farm hands are like, "Well, what about Dorothy?" "Never mind about Dorothy. Let's save ourselves." And so they close up, and they're hiding there, and Dorothy kind of comes back to the house, and the last minute she runs into their bedroom. Tornado hits, and that old house, it just flies away. Tornado picks up the whole house. Dorothy looks out the window. Well, she see, there's that wicked old witch riding her bicycle. Do 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 do. It was the craziest thing. So then, eventually, that house lands in the craziest place. You see, Dorothy was from kind of a black and white world. I don't know why. They didn't have any color at her town. But when that big old house lands in the Munchkin village or wherever, lands smack dab right on a witch, kills a witch. She steps out of the house. The house is fine, but the witch is dead. She looks down and she's like, "Oh no, what'd I do? My house done crushed that witch." Little midget comes out and says, "Hey, you killed that witch. Nice going. We hated that witch." She's like, "Well, I didn't mean to." And they're like, "Hey." Another witch comes by. She's like, "You better give me them shoes." Something happens. Magically, them shoes are now they're on Dorothy's feet. And the other witch goes, "Give me them shoes." But they shock her. And on and on. Off she goes. She meets a scarecrow, meets a tin man. She meets a cowardly lion. She meets a Wizard of Oz. She kills another witch. Eventually, she clicks her heels together. She's all like, "Oh, there's no place like home. No place like home. No place like home." 3 times. What happened? Wakes up. She's back in the land of black and white. And she was like, "Oh, Auntie Em, you won't believe what happened to me. I've been flying around in the house, and I killed some witches. But you were there, and you were there, and you were there." And she realized it was all just a dream. And this is the story of Dorothy of Kansas and the Wizard of Oz. Or as I like to call it, the story of how a little girl killed some witches. Back to you, NanaBOOZHOO.
Thank you, Emily. That was a really good story. Emily. She's so cute. Yeah. Boozhoo. And welcome to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. My name is NanaBOOZHOO. This over here is the lovely and the talented Natasha. Boozhoo Gakina Awia. Hello, everybody. Hey, that's a good, that reminds me. Boozhoo Gakina Awia. Is it this one? I swear I had that was going to be our Ojibwe phrase of the day. Hello, everybody. What did I do with it? No. Is it, I guess I didn't. I do have this. You do have the title. Boozhoo. Welcome to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO. But I thought our phrase of the day was going to be Boozhoo Gakina Awia. Hello, everybody. But now I can't find it. Instead, Adazukan, traditional story. That was Emily on location outside Aguaching telling a traditional story. The story of, what was it? What's that story called? The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz. Starring Dorothy and a scarecrow and some witches. Tin Man. And Wissany. Was Wissany in that movie? I'm not sure. Maybe. Boozhoo, Wissany. And John Redcorn. Hey, John. Hey, John. Curtis Mills is here. Boozhoo, Curtis. What's going on? Hey, dude. Says Aneen. Aneen, hey dude. Boozhoo, Aneen. Aneen, hey dude. MJ's here. Well, Boozhoo, MJ. John says, Mino Onagoshin. Boozhoo crew. Good evening, Boozhoo crew. Good evening. Is it the evening already? It's 6:31. Yeah, I think evening starts by 6, especially these days. It's getting dark early. Yep, well, it's that time of year. Yeah. Boozhoo Gakina Awia. Thank you. John's got it written in the chat. Today's phrase of the day. Hello, everyone. But tonight, I thought we'd talk about the traditional story. I know I'm supposed to wait for the snow, but it may not snow this winter. You don't think it's going to snow? Actually, it's pretty cold today. But for today's another traditional story. Let's go to Mukwa out Aguaching. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mukwa. Miigwech, NanaBOOZHOO. Thank you, NanaBOOZHOO. Dash Boozhoo Gakina Awia. Hello, everybody. Mukwa Nindigenous cause. Bear is my name. Well, it's my name, but it's also what I am. I'm a Mukwa. I'm a bear. It's who I am. It's what I am. It's how I live. But yeah, so today I'd like to tell a traditional story. An Adazuke, a traditional Anishinaabe. This is from the oral tradition. No. This is an old story. This story begins way back in the days of the grandfathers. So, once upon a time, there was this little girl, and she had blonde hair. She had golden hair. Her hair was so golden that she became known as Goldilocks. Can you imagine if that your hair was so distinctive that that's how the people refer to you? I mean, what does that make me? Black fur? Blackened fur? Well, anyway, so back in the days, once upon a time, Goldilocks, she goes for a walk out in the woods, and she sees a cabin there. A cabin that's occupied by a family of bears. Now in the story, it doesn't explain how a family of bears came by to own this cabin. A fully furnished cabin with porridge and beds. I mean, were these bears capable of building a cabin? I don't know. Nobody knows. Did some human beings live out in that cabin and then the bears come in and kill them and then just take over their lives? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's a mystery. But anyway, so Goldilocks, she walks up, she looks into the window, doesn't see anybody, tries the knob, and sure enough, it opens right up. She walks in there. Well, what she didn't know is that earlier that day, there was a mama bear and a papa bear and a little baby bear. They were all having breakfast. Mama bear had made some oatmeal or some porridge or something. For some reason, she made them 3 different temperatures: hot, cold, and just right. But instead of just sitting there for a minute and cooling it off, they went, hey, you know what? Let's all leave the house. We'll just leave our porridge sitting on the table. So they all left, went on a walk. I don't know what they were doing. But Goldilocks, she doesn't know this. She walks right in. She sees the porridge on the table there. She figures, well, why not? She takes a bite of the first bowl. Oh, this is too hot. They must have just left. Goes to the next bowl. Let me try this one. Maybe this is different. Tries it. Oh, this is too cold. Goes to the third bowl. Tries that. And this one's just right. Well, she sits down in each of the chairs, same thing. This one's too hard. This one's too soft. Oh, this one's just right. She fills herself up on the porridge there. Then pretty soon she goes back to the, to the bedroom. There's a big old Papa Bear bed, too hard. Mama Bear bed, too soft. Crawls into Baby Bear bed. I don't know if it's a crib. Nobody knows. Oh, this one's just right. Yeah, okay. I'll live here. I'll sleep here. Well, pretty quickly the family comes back. And they see this little blonde girl, Goldilocks, sleeping in a baby's bed. Like, what are you doing? And then I think they killed her. I don't remember how that story ends or what the moral of that story is, but this has been the story of Goldilocks. The tragic death and decisions of an entitled criminal of breaking and entering and porridge theft. Anyway, back to you, NanaBOOZHOO. Thank you. Makwa, ladies and gentlemen. Kakinawiya. Makwa's a good storyteller. Yeah, he is. Goldilocks. Yeah, what is the moral of the story when it comes to Goldilocks? I don't know. What's the moral of any of those stories? Yeah. Why do we think that children's stories have a moral? Like, here's a story. Here's an old Indian story I've never understood. The story is called How Rabbit Got His Flat Face, I think. It goes something like this. Back in the days of the grandfathers, Waboos, the rabbit. Apparently, he used to have like kind of a face like a fox. I don't know. But he had long ears and all this stuff. And one day he was out in the woods and, well, gosh, the fox, he's hunting him. And he sees a man on a path. He's following the rabbit, tracks. Sees an old man in a hat and blanket making some porridge with a wooden spoon. And he comes up and he says, "Excuse me, grandfather." Because, back in the day, everybody called their elders grandfather or grandmother. He goes, "Have you seen a rabbit? I'm hunting waboos." And the old man goes, No, I'm just an old man making my porridge here. I don't know anything about your rabbits. Leave me alone. He goes, "Well, I'm sorry, grandfather. I'll leave you to it." But then just as he's about to turn, like old grandpa takes off his hat and his thing, ears pop up, it's the rabbit. And he grabs that ladle and he smacks the fox on the head and he goes, "Aha! It is I, Wabooz, the rabbit. You cannot catch me." Off he goes. Well, so now fox is really mad. Well, gosh, he goes, he's hunting them down even more, following his trail through the snow and that. Pretty soon he comes up on this old lady outside of a lodge. The old lady is making some wild rice soup. Making some of that, Manuman Naboob. There's an old lady making some wild rice. She was making some mac soup. Yeah. And, she got a shawl over her head and she's wearing a blanket. A fox comes up to her and he goes, "Excuse me, grandmother. Miss Shomis, or Nukomis, excuse me. Have you seen a rabbit come by here? I'm a great hunter, but I'm looking for this rabbit." And that old lady, she goes, "Oh, I don't know anything about a rabbit. Leave me alone. I'm trying to have my stew here." He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry for bothering you, grandmother." And as he turns to leave, that old lady, she pulls off her whatever, her shawl, and big old ears pop out, and there it is, Wabooz again. He goes, "Aha, it's me, the rabbit." And he smacks the old fox on the head with the ladle and runs off. Oh, wow, this time that old fox is just mad. Well, gosh, says, "I'm going to get him this time." So he keeps following the trail. He leaves, rabbits always leave a path when they're running through the snow. So this time, Wabooz gets way up there, and the rabbit goes, "Okay, I got an idea." He goes, "Listen, moccasins." Wabooz is wearing old Indian moccasins. He goes, "I want you to jump off my feet. Keep running. I'm gonna hide in the bushes here, but you keep running so the fox can follow the path." So he hops out of his moccasins, but those moccasins, they were like magic. And they just kept running through the snow. Fox, what gosh, he keeps running up past rabbit hiding in the brush. And he gets up to this tree where he sees the moccasins had run in and jumped into the tree. This is where the story gets weird, because somehow rabbit's in that tree anyway. But the fox gets all suspicious. He goes, "Okay, I get it. You fooled me 2 times." He's yelling at the tree. Because you're not going to fool me. One time you pretended to be an old man, smacked me on the head. The next time you pretended to be an old grandma, smacked me on the head. This time I can tell you've changed into a tree. Or you're disguised as a tree. Or maybe you're even in that tree. I don't know. But somehow rabbit sticks his head out of that tree. Fox smacks him in the face. And boom. That's why rabbits have a flat face. What? Yeah. That's an old story. Fox actually punched a rabbit in the face after rabbit had it coming, kind of. Yeah. But then how come his kids would have flat faces? That's where the story falls apart. So not only did that particular rabbit not die, just had a flat face, he went on to father, for the rest of history now, all rabbits are born with flat faces because of that. What is that? The original sin? And this has been the story of how Wabooz got his flat face. Another deep, traditional children's story. Arazukan. From your friendly neighborhood, Arazuke Winini. I'm the friendly neighborhood storyteller. Yeah, you are. Here's a story. What's that? Back in the days of last week, Paul Pelosi apparently had one of his gay boyfriends over, and things got out of hand. Now he's got an Excedrin-size headache. I don't know what that story is, but inquiring minds want to know. We should have had Paul Pelosi call into the show today. That would have been funny. Hey, Carl McAskill. How you doing? Oh, no, it's Carrie. Carrie McAskill. Bonjour, Carrie. How are you? Thank you for coming to the live stream. Me and the old lady here. Hey! Oh, and the rock star cartoonist, Michael Lyons. I always forget that he's sitting over there. I know, me too. How you doing, Michael? Oh, I'm doing great. You want to say hello to the people? Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. Michael Lyons, rock star cartoonist. If you'd like to order a book by Michael Lyons, we've got too much going on the toolbar here, sweetie. I know. I always want to make that. Here we go. You can support the show. Patreon, PayPal, GoFundMe, Super Chats, or you can order a book by Michael Lyons at Amazon.com. Michael Lyons has a book of... Okay, here we go. This will be the Ojibwe story lesson of the day, sweetie. What you got planned? If I can find it. And again, we got too much going on here. Is this even Rockstar? No, it's green screen. What about this? Okay. Dog in Maingan. Michael wrote and illustrated a book that counts to 10 in Ojibwe. It's a picture book, a little cartoon book for little kids. The dog speaks English. Maingan, which means wolf, speaks Ojibwe. But the latest book published by Amazon, Ojibwe Words and Phrases. And today's Ojibwe lesson, before we go any further, sweetie, what you got planned? Oh, this is great. The double vowels chart. Hey, look at that handsome guy. I'm wearing the exact same clothes. Yeah. Okay. What am I doing here? Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want that to be our thumbnail. The double vowel chart. In Ojibwe Words and Phrases, this is a page from it. If you ever wonder about some of the rules in Ojibwe when you're learning these words, ZH sounds like SU in measure, J, measure, treasure. A's sound like they sound like in son, Two A's sound like in father. I sounds like I in sit. 2 I's sound like E in feet. And me, Gwetch. 2 I's. Yep. O sounds like O in go and Ojibwe. You mean Ojibwe? Yeah. I hate it when people pronounce it Ojibwe. Hey, do you like to speak Ojibwe? No. And the 2 O's is oo in food. And A sounds like A and stay. E's sound like A, like in Ojibwe. But anyway, this has been an Ojibwe double vowel lesson of the day. What else do we... Oh, phrases. That book is just basic phrases and a little shortcut. This is one of the pages. Order your copy today. You happy enough of the infomercial? Yeah, I didn't ask you to do that. Well, someone's got to pay the bills around here. Ojibwe words and phrases. Available at Amazon.com. Click the links in the description below. Or don't. I don't care. I just don't care anymore, sweetie. You don't care anymore? No. There's too many things going on in the world. It's a tough world. I wish I could talk to Nancy Schmancy. Nancy Schmancy has the answers. Yeah. But, she's busy. I think she's here. What? Really? Well, Nancy Schmancy, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. Next, you're going to tell me Wally Bear's here. Hey, Wally Bear's here too. What? Bonjour, Wally Bear. Welcome to the show. Storytelling, Ojibwe language lesson, we cover it all. You want to take a phone call? Do we have somebody? We sure do. Mr. Donald J. Trump is online too. Donald Trump's online too? Oh boy. Da 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 da. No, that's the English one. Yeah, what's the American president? No, that's like a football. I don't remember. Bonjour, Mr. former President Donald J. Trump. Welcome to the show.
Yes, hello, NANABOOZHOO. It's me, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, I know. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well. I'm doing tremendously well. Tremendously well. Yes, that's what they tell me. I don't know if it's true, but they tell me that I'm doing fantastic. I was the greatest president ever, and now they have Sleepy Joe. And everyone's wishing they had voted for me. Well, you know what I tell them, NANABOOZHOO?
What do you tell them?
You should have voted for me when you had a chance. Now you have Sleepy Joe. And all I can do is sit here and laugh. Ha, ha, ha.
That doesn't sound like a very genuine laugh.
Well, you know what laughter sounds like. I'm a much too serious businessman and former president of the United States.
You going to run for president again?
I'm thinking about it. Somebody has to do something about China.
Yeah, I guess so. Who's going to be your running mate?
Well, I was thinking maybe Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani was the mayor of New York City. And now I have the largest building in New York City. Trump Tower is a tremendous building. It's a tremendous building indeed. That's what they tell me. I don't know. But we have to do something. Rudy Giuliani, China, running for president. My name is Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, sure are. How'd you like to learn some Ojibwe?
Yes, what is the Ojibwe word of the day?
You know what? We haven't even talked about the word of the day. Or the day of the word or whatever. Today is Friday, so in Ojibwe, we call it Nano Geisha Good, the 5th day. Nano Geisha Good, the 5th day. I'd like to plead the 5th, Your Honor, because it is the 5th day. Nano Geisha Good. Yeah, very good. Why do you have to plead the 5th? Oh, because the Democrats, they want to bring me to Congress. They want to try me for something. I don't know. It's ridiculous. And when I get in office again, you better watch out. I'm going to drain the swamp. They're going to wish they had never had pushed old Donald J. Trump around. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to root it, huh, sweetie? Yeah. Hi, Donald. Hello, Natasha. How are you, dear? I'm doing pretty good. How are you? I'm tremendous. I'm fantastic. I'm the greatest president there's ever been. I don't know if that's true. That's what they tell me. Yeah. Who you been talking to? All my supporters. The mega Republicans. Oh, yeah. I hear you guys are something to be feared. That's what Sleepy Joe Biden wants to believe. He's spreading hate. He's spreading conspiracy theories. Yeah. The right-wing conspiracy theories. They say there's mega Republicans, domestic terrorism. Well, they don't know domestic terrorism until I come back. And when I drain the swamp, they're going to wish they'd never tried to push around old Donald J. Trump. Yeah, I don't suppose. Listen, man, I better get going. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Well, I was wondering if I could learn, how do you say goodbye in Ojibwe? Well, we don't really say goodbye, you know. We always say, I will see you again. Gigawabamin, Minawa. Gigawabamin, Minawa, Nanaboozhoo. Yeah, you do it, Trump. Gigawabamin, Minawa. Huh? Donald Trump, I can't believe it. Yeah. Sounds like he's got kind of a chip on his shoulder. Yeah. But you going to vote for him again? No, I'm done voting. Really? You're not going to vote? No, I don't care. Why don't you want to vote? I think politics is kind of like all-star wrestling. That's not real. You don't think it's real? No. Yeah, neither do I. I sort of feel like it's like made for TV. Gives us something to fight over, something to divide and conquer us by. Oh, I'm a Democrat. Oh, I'm a liberal. Watch what you say. They'll be calling you a radical, a liberal, a fanatical, a criminal. Won't you sign up with me? I'd like to be your acceptable, respectable. Yeah, I'm out of the politics game. I don't care. You guys can play. You fight amongst yourselves. I don't know. This ain't my country. I'm just living here. Yeah. This land ain't my land. This land is your land. Do what you want. I'm just renting a little house. Yeah. What else is here? Nancy Schmancy, Wally Bear, MJ. Cheeky bastard. Oh, you cheeky bastard. There's some cheeky bastard here, sweetie. Don't say bastard. Why not? That's a swear. Is it? I think it might be. This is not nice. Okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to swear that guy's name. There are some words that are getting mainstreamed. Like piss. Yeah. Piss used to be a swear word. You'd say, oh, I'm pissed. Your grandma would be like, hey, watch your mouth. But then, you know, things got degraded. I blame rap music. Yeah. I blame the coloreds. Shut up. Sunny day. We got anybody else calling in? No. You want to go to the moon? Do I want to go to the moon? I love you to the moon and back. Would you really? Yep. I'm going to teleport you to the moon, okay? I don't want to go to the moon. Just go to the moon. You always talk about conspiracy theories. All right. I'm going to go up to the moon. See what happens when you when you let a woman rule your life? All right. You make it so, sweetie. When to teleport? Make it so, my love. No. Oh, what? What am I doing up here? Dibek Jesus. Moon. Mama Aki. Mother Earth. Look at that. Guys, can't even respect your Mother Earth. I took a birch bark canoe into New York the other day. And then I got out and I was walking there looking at all the litter. This car from the 70s pulled up and threw some McDonald's wrappers at me. Bunch of racists. And then I cried, one little tear. Oh. And I got back in my canoe. Went back to the airport. Got my return flight. Northwest Airlines with a connecting flight in Minneapolis. You know they have a layaway in Brainerd now? What's going on? We can put a man on the moon, but somehow air travel gets worse every year. Back in the days of the grandfathers, when they were flying people to the moon and not just making up stories about doing it, when they actually did it. But even air travel, remember when we were kids and people would put on their suit jackets and a tie and get all dressed up, and you go to the airport and you get up there and they'd give you a drink and then dinner, and you could smoke a cigarette in the airplane, and it was all fancy and there was no security, and they had the Concorde jet, whatever, that would fly to England in like an hour or something. For some reason, air travel used to be very dignified and, you know, fancy and good. Now it's like you're in a bus in India in the sky. You know, you just cram as many people as they can. They treat you like cattle, like criminals. When you go through an airport, hey, take off your shoes. We're going to x-ray your body. Put on a mask. Whatever. Air travel has gotten worse every year. But that's what's so funny about the moon landing hoax. This is the one thing in technology where they said, well, in the late 60s, NASA, without computers, had the technology and the grit. These baby boomers, it came to the moon and back 6 times. 6 times, you guys. Landed men on the moon. Played golf. Drove a car. You can drive a car on the moon. They showed you video of it. 1/6 the gravity. So they bounced a little bit. It looked very fake, but that they said, as Elon Musk said when he allegedly shot a car into outer space, he said, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. That's the explanation from NASA and Elon Musk about all their fakeness. But, so the story goes, yeah, back then, between 1968 and 1973, we easily flew to the moon and back. Nobody died. Now, we haven't been back in 50 years. Can't do it. It's too hard. Don Pettit, NASA astronaut, said, quote, I'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond. But we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build back. Painful. It hurts too much to build back the technology they had in the 60s, but for some reason nobody has in 2022. Why did I say it like that? 2022. Yeah. At the same time, we do have the technology to fly to Mars. That's a pretty major accomplishment in the history of the Earth. Oh, we flew to Mars. How many times? Nobody cares. 6? We landed numerous Mars rovers, solar-powered vehicles that never need gas or maintenance. One of them recently, they sent a little helicopter with it and a drill. They drilled into Mars and sent back photographs. They have a camera, drill, helicopter, and solar paneled, maintenance-free Mars rovers. That we can still do. Thank you, NASA. But the moon. She was right. Every time I teleport to the moon, not only do I start talking about conspiracy theories and all that, I start getting annoyed. But nobody wants to be woken up from their... Like about 5-6 years ago, millions of us woke up from the NASA deception, which included the Mars landing hoax. But that was just the beginning. That's just a big... The rabbit hole keeps going, you guys. It's all an illusion. Computer. Boop, boop, boop. And moon simulation. Boop, 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 boop. See, I'm just in a holiday because you can't teleport to the moon. Hollywood's got you believing all that craziness. They got us believing, the reason why they get so defensive about the moon landing is that they know if you start going down that rabbit hole, okay, wait, that's fake, huh? Okay. And what? You mean it's not as far away as they said? You mean the sun's not as far away as they said? You mean the sun and the moon are the same size, same distance from the ground? You keep going. What do you mean outer space itself is fake? I can see it, at night. It's the stars, Yeah, you can see stars at night in blackness. You can see something amazing. But that's just a dome. I don't know. I think. I don't know. Looks like a dome to me. Anyway, I'm going to go back. Boop, boop, boop. Beep, beep. BOOZHOO. Hi, sweetie. You ready to come back? Yep. You still in the holodeck? Yeah. Okay, hang on. 1 to teleport. Make it so, number 1. Hey, welcome back. Oh, thank you. How is it down there? Well, same old, same old. I go down there and pretend I'm on the moon. And then I get all annoyed with that rabbit hole. Yeah. No. Oh, I'm Buzz Aldrin. Yeah, have another drink, Buzz Aldrin. I don't think you're buzzed enough. Yeah, I don't know. You want to get up here? Sure. You gonna play a song first? Oh, yeah, you bet. Up next, lovely and talented Natasha. Now that I'm crabby over NASA. Yeah. Here's a song. It's got nothing to do with NASA's lies. Right to your face, you guys. I guess what it bothers me is not that they lied to me, it's that they lied to the BOOZHOO crew. I get very protective of the BOOZHOO crew. Yeah, you do. Here is a song by a guy who's also in heaven. Yeah, everyone's dead. I know, it sucks. Tom Petty. Back in the days of the grandfathers. In the 80s, you couldn't go 15 minutes without hearing a Tom Petty song on the radio. That's true. It was like every 4 or 5 months. Here's another Tom Petty hit. Until the radio was just inundated, whatever the word is, with Tom Petty songs. So we thought we'd add to the noise. And one more time. This song is called Last Dance, I think. But up next, Natasha. What? Nothing, I'm just watching. Take 2.
All right. This is Last Dance with Mary Jane by Tom Petty.
She grew up in an Indiana town, had a good-looking mama who never was around. But she grew up tall and she grew up right with some Indiana boys on an Indiana night.
Well, hey,
She came here at the age of 18, blew the boys away, it was more than they'd seen. We were introduced and we both started grooving. She said, I dig it, baby, but I gotta keep moving on. I got a mahjong. Last dance with Mary Jane, one more time to kill the pain. And I feel summer creeping in, and I'm tired of this town again. Oh, 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 oh. I don't know what I've been told. You never slow down, you never grow old. I'm tired of screwing up, I'm tired of going down. I'm tired of myself and I'm tired of this town. Whoa, my, whoa, hell yes. Gotta put on that jingle dress, buy me a drink, sing me a song, take me as I am, 'cause I can't stay long. Last dance with Mary Jane, one more time to kill the pain. And I feel summer creeping in, and I'm tired of this town again. Oh, 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 got a mahjong. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lyons.
Yay!
BOOZHOO! Natasha Nindish in the cause. Natasha is my name. Oh, it's pretty here. Must be Doug Wagon. Must be autumn. When autumn comes,
Ooh, 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 la dee dee da dee dee dum dum. There it is. Bonjour, Gakina Aria. Hello, everybody. How are ya? Anine. A-C-A-I-N. How are ya? Got our Ojibwe words all screwed up here. A big. Sit. Oh, yes. A bin is when you're talking to one person. But a big. Everybody. Number da big. Sit down, everyone. Sit down, have some coffee. Look, here's a cup right here. Muckety mush kiki waboo. Muckety mush kiki waboo. Oh, that's really good. Really good black medicine water. Water. I said that like a New Yorker. I got some water. Gonna get my car. Go down to 52nd Street. We'll have a little soul parade. Do 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 do. Bonjour, get your money do. Hello, Great Spirit. Accept my tobacco. Odapanan niwi asema. Great Spirit, thank you for everything that you do today. Gitchi manadu, mikwech gaiji gakina keku, gaiji chikeon nungum. Thank you for this life. Mikwech gaiji bamadaziyan. Thank you for healing my heart. Mikwech ga kake ninde. And thanks for listening. Dash mikwech ga bizanawi egg. Amen. Gapenge. Nusana wakwing abian. Our Father who art in heaven. You know, it's funny. Nobody skips a beat. I haven't had anybody really kind of confused about me praying in Ojibwe, putting out tobacco, and then talking about Bible God. You know, there was probably a time, maybe in the 70s or something, where it seemed like there were either traditional Indian people or Christians. It kind of felt like, well, you can be an Indian or you can be a Christian. Which one is it? Like in Smoke Signals when it was the priests against the Indians when they played basketball, you know? But so many of our ancestors, our grandparents and great-grandparents, were hardcore Bible-believing. You know, my grandmother was a boarding school graduate and a full-on, like, church lady, like, Bible thumping. You know, I'm, like, singing hymns and stuff. And there came a point where we had to look back in history and go, okay, is that part of our culture now? You know? If we talk about the way people prayed in the days of the grandfathers, well, now we're coming to the point where back in the days of the grandfathers meant that boarding school generation. And there's a whole lot of Jesus-loving, you know, whatevers that are Anishinaabe. You didn't become less Indian because you converted to Christianity in boarding school or whenever. But, you know, we've been putting out tobacco and saying prayers in Ojibwe and ending it with an amen.
And nobody, I haven't had one person go, hey, what is that? You're praying to the colonizers, God. It's like, no. Nobody, that hasn't been an issue at all. Which I guess I'm glad. So today, in the spirit of our storytelling day, let me tell a story from the OJIBWE Mazini. The Preach Book. That's what the old Ojibwe, the original Ojibwe Christians, they called the Bible the Preach Book. Because the preacher always had it. So it's called the OJIBWE Mazini. And in the Preach Book, back in the days of the grandfathers, what story should I tell? Do I tell the creation story, or do I tell the Adam and Eve story? Let's jump right into Adam and Eve. So the world was built, and yada yada. There's Adam and a whole bunch of animals, and he lives in a Garden of Eden, and it's perfect. He can just, it's perfect. He doesn't even have to wear clothes. It's just like paradise. But he's a little lonely. And he goes, Nusana, wakwing abian. Our Father who art in heaven. I'm kind of lonely. Can you make me a wife? And Gitchimanadu goes, yeah, sure, I'll make you a wife. Go to sleep. And he puts him into a deep sleep. And while Adam was asleep, Gitchimanadu went down and grabbed a rib. He pulls a rib out. And he waves that rib around. And that rib transforms magically or something into the most beautiful girl you've ever seen. She had long, beautiful blonde hair that covered up her boobs. And she was just fetching. Just beautiful. Nobody could deny it. And Gitchimandu called her Eve. So Eve goes, hey, Adam, wake up. Check me out. Adam wakes up and rubs his eyes. Oh, wow. Nicely done, Great Spirit. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And the Great Spirit goes, well, she's the only woman you've ever seen. So calm down. She's also the ugliest woman you've ever seen, so whatever. But he goes, yeah, hey, you guys, get along. Have fun. Don't fight. And, by the way, enjoy the Garden of Eden. You can do whatever you want. Except this one thing. I'm going to ask you one stupid little rule. See that tree over there? It's got an apple. I don't want you touching that. Okay? That's not for you. Everything else, we got the Dr. Pepper River. We've got the Snickers bar bushes. It's just paradise, right? You can go for a ride on the unicorns. I don't care. Do what you love. But stay away from that apple tree. I'm saving those apples for something. And so Adam and Eve go, yeah, okay, fine. Don't worry about us, Father. We've never let you down before, have we? And off he goes. Well, they go around, days pass. Adam and Eve are naming the animals. He's like, oh, look, Eve, let's call that a bear. How about a bear? She says, oh, bear, yeah, that's a good one. Now look at that. We'll call that thing a tiger. Tiger. She's like, oh, yeah, I like that. Tiger, bear, oh, my, And he's like, are you writing this down? And she goes, write it. What is that? And he goes, okay, hang on. Let's call this a pencil. Write down the names of these animals. We'll have to invent written language or something. I don't know. But we're naming the animals. And on, they named animals swimming in a river, drinking Dr. Pepper. I don't know. Well, one day, Eve is sitting underneath a tree, and the snake comes down. And he's all like, hey, Eve, why don't you have an apple? His tail comes down, it's holding this juicy apple. And he goes, hey, take it. And Eve recognizes it right away. Goes, no, the Great Spirit told me I shouldn't eat that apple. That's really bad. I got one rule. I'm not going to break the only rule there is. You know? And by the way, there's no rule against killing snakes. So tread lightly. You know? But then the snake goes, no, it's okay. You see, Great Spirit doesn't want you eating this apple because as soon as you eat this apple, you'll know the difference between good and evil. You'll be like God himself. And Eve was like, well, okay, I guess. So she takes a bite out of it. And then Adam comes around the corner. I don't know where he was. And he's like, what are you guys doing? And Eve goes, hey, eat this apple. Adam goes, you mean the one apple Gitchimadu told us not to eat? You want me to eat it? He goes, yeah, do it. It's good. It's like, all right. He eats it. And then they feel bad. They're like, oh, doggone it. What do we do? And look, we're naked. I'm so embarrassed. How come I'm naked? And they go and they hide in the bushes. Well, pretty soon, Gitchimadu, he comes strolling through the Garden of Eden. And he goes, hey, Adam, where are you? And at this point, you have to remember that Adam, outside of eating the apple, he had never sinned before. He had never told a lie. So he wasn't very good at lying. So when Gitchimadu asked him where he was, he goes, I'm hiding in the bushes, Father. It's like, okay, dummy. What'd you do? And Adam goes, well, Eve told me to eat that apple. Don't look at me, Eve. She made me do it. And Eve goes, yeah, well, the serpent told me it'd be good. And Gitchimadu goes, you know what? You screwed it up. Nice going, dummies. There's a door. Don't let the doorknob hit you in the butt on the way out. Now, because you can't follow a simple rule, you can toil in the fields and wear bear skins and think about what you did. No more Dr. Pepper River for you. And he kicks him out of the Garden of Eden. And then he looks at the snake. This is the weird part. He wasn't a snake yet. He was like a lizard. And he goes, because you did this, Satan. Yeah, I know I left the door open and let you into the Garden of Eden in the first place, which is sort of weird and makes God kind of sort of responsible, but never mind that. He goes, because you tempted Eve to disobey me, I will make you slither on the ground like a snake, and all your children forever can slither around in the dirt. Poof, he turns Satan into a snake. And this is the story of how Adam and Eve ate the apple and what they call the original sin. So because of that, you and me and all our ancestors were, I don't know, we inherited God's wrath. To learn more about an angry, vengeful God, read the Bible. Nah. Anyway, computer, boop, boop, boop. Please end outdoor simulation if you would. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah? You thought I was really outside, didn't you? Boop, boop, boop. Beep, beep.
Bonjour.
Hi, sweetie.
You ready to come back?
Yeah, can you pick me up?
You got it. That would be 1 to teleport.
Make it so, number 1. Ta-da!
Hey, welcome back.
Well, thank you so much.
Did you tell a story?
I told the original story of Adam and Eve.
Oh, you're becoming a regular, what do you call it? Sunday school teacher.
Yeah, pretty much. To learn more about Auntie Natasha's Sunday school teachings, tune in this Sunday. No, I don't know. What do you think?
Should we call it a show?
Yeah, it's about that time.
All right.
Do you want to add anything? Nope, that's good.
All right. Hey, everyone. Just want to say, miigwech bisandawieg. Thank you for listening. And thank you for watching Miigwech Ganawabieg. BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO. The podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am Natasha.
This is NANABOOZHOO. Okay, miigwech.
That's Michael Lyons.
Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
And I will see you again. Eagle-wabba-man. Mina-wa-ha-wa. Hey, sweetie, why don't you teleport me into the kitchen? And I'm going to make us some sandwiches and some coffee.
You are a good traditional woman.
No, get out of here. See you tomorrow.
All right, hang on. One to teleport.
Make it so, number one.
Welcome to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I'm happy to be here with you today to speak Ojibwe and learn about the language and culture.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show.